Hi, my name's Alan. I work in the sales department here at Ranger, and today we're going to do this altered wearable Grungeboard butterfly that we're going to paint using our Adirondack dabbers. We're going to distress them with some distressing inks, and we're going to make it look a little blingy with some of our perfect pearls. And then we're going to put this together using some of the ideology line. So let's get going. Alright, so we started off with a sheet of Grungeboard Basic. Actually, I started off with a non-textured sheet, which I used a Sizzix die, put it through my Cuttlebug, and then I took one of the texture plates that I happen to like, which is swirls in this case. We're going to take our Adirondack paint dabber. We're going to be using Aqua today, which I'm going to use to just give a light to medium coat over this Grungeboard butterfly. So, the nice thing about the Adirondack paint dabber is that it's completely a mess-free sort of acrylic paint solution, which is multi-surface, so it'll work on metal, glass, acrylic. It's permanent on fabric, and you can see how easy it is to use and how mess-free it is, and because you're not using foam brushes or palettes, you're not wasting a lot of paint. And this paint should take a few minutes to dry, but we're going to speed it up with our heat tool. Now, our next phase, what we're going to do is we're actually going to sand this Grungeboard butterfly, just so we don't make a big mess. We are actually working here on our glass-infused Teflon non-stick craft sheet, which is an excellent surface for working on. It protects the surface that you're on top of, as well as being non-stick. It's great for working with glues, inks, and paints, and easy to clean off. So we're going to be sanding this using part of Tim's ideology line is his new sanding grip. It's a really nice block to work with because it's completely flat. And the nice thing is that when I go and start sanding this butterfly, it's going to be removing the paint from the raised surfaces. Now, if you were doing this with your hands, you would actually be sanding into the valleys and not just on the tops of the texture. And so you'd end up with a slightly different look to what we're trying to achieve today. So I'm going to start sanding. So, as you can see, using the sanding grip, we actually got back and we actually were able to remove paint from all that raised surface. And as I mentioned, if you had done this with your fingers, it would have been impossible just to sand those areas as opposed to with the sanding grip, this nice flat surface. So I'm just going to get rid of my sanding dust here for a second. Now your next step is you're going to take some distress ink. I happen to be using Vintage Photo today. But you could use any of the colors. They're going to work pretty much the same. I just happen to like the contrast that sort of my Aqua and my Vintage Photo are going to give me. And I'm using my blending tool. This is a tool with a strip of Velcro underneath, and what it does, it receives this closed-cell foam, which we have. It's a fantastic foam for transferring of inks, paints. So I'm just lightly dabbing it on my pad, and I'm going to be just working it into my Grungeboard. So as you can see, I'm kind of covering the entire butterfly, including the paint. So it looks like my paint is changing colors because we're actually putting a layer over the top of it. But I'll show you the magic later on and how we remove that. So I'm just working the ink into the Grungeboard. And there we are. So nicely distressed and grunged up. So this is where we are right now. So what I'm going to do at this point is we're going to take one of our mini misters. We sell these in 3-packs as well as in large sort of displays in stores that you can buy 1, 2, 3, or 10 if that's what you want. They're an incredibly useful tool. This one actually just has water in it, and I'm going to spritz slightly here, and I'm going to take a paper towel, and we're going to just, using a paper towel, just lift the ink away from the painted surfaces. So that's kind of the magic. You'll see that this ink and this paint will resist each other, and so on the painted surfaces, the ink lifts away, whereas on the surfaces where you sanded, the ink remains. there we are. So you got your original ink color back. Now for the next layer, we're going to be actually adding a little bling to this particular project by using some of our perfect pearls. Now our perfect pearls is a pearlescent mica powder that comes with a built-in binder. This is a kit that we sell in many stores, and it also comes in open stock, and we have 6 different kits with 4 colors in each kit, so 24 colors. Now this has a built-in binder, so once it's been wet, it is permanent, which is quite useful. And I'll show you how I actually made this mixture. We basically took a mini mister with a little bit of water, with some water, and literally I took the back of my paintbrush and we just put a couple little scoops in here, and that's all it took. Just a couple little scoops off the back of the paintbrush. You shake it up and you're good to go. Now if you don't use this for a little while, it will settle a little bit in the bottom, but you give it a reasonable shake and you're good to go. So moving on with the project, I prepared this perfect pearls in this mini mister, and what we're going to do is we're just going to give it a couple squirts with the mini mister, and then we're going to dry it with the heat tool. Now the thing what you'll notice when you first using perfect pearls in this kind of application, when you spray it on initially, it doesn't look like there's a lot of gold on there, so you want to just put a couple squirts on, dry it with the heat tool, because once it dries, that's really when you're going to see the perfect pearls come out in this kind of an application. So, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe I want a little more gold. So I'm going to just spray, isolated areas to add a little extra gold, maybe to the wings, just to kind of beef up the gold look, and just continue drying. You can add gold and continue drying. Alright, so here we are. The perfect pearls are dried, so we've taken the Grungeboard, we've painted it, we sanded the top raised surfaces off, we inked it to get the ink into those areas, and now we added just a little bit of bling with the perfect pearls. So you can see where the perfect pearls have dried, they are permanent. So you can rub this and it's not going to come off on your hands or on your clothing or anything like that. So we're almost there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our butterfly, and we're going to be embellishing this butterfly with a couple pieces from Tim's Ideology line. I'm going to be using a game spinner as the body of this particular embellishment, and then we're going to use the long brad, which will go through quite a few layers of Grungeboard or almost anything, which is kind of useful compared to short brads. We're going to use the swivel clasp, just hang it over the top of the brad, and just an ordinary pin bell off the back, pin back, just to make it wearable. Split the brad, and then at the end of the clasp, we're just going to put a philosophy tag, and I'm actually going to put listen because I probably don't do enough of that. And there you have it. There's your wearable piece of artwork, which what we're going to do is, in order to get the shape, the nice thing about Grungeboard is that it's moldable, so we're going to give this a little bend, and it's not like chipboard that's going to break if you try and bend it or sand it or any of that sort of stuff. And we're just going to roll back his wings a little bit and sort of give him a little bit more of character than have. All right, so there you have it. This is my samples of my altered wearable art. So hope that we showed you some cool stuff today, and that you enjoyed the project. And if I can do it, I think anyone can. Enjoy.